Hello guys, so this video is the week 24 homework answer key video. Okay, so just like week 23, before I start talking about the homework questions, I'm going to briefly review what we learned in this week, just to refresh our memory. Okay, so in week 24, we basically learned three things. Okay, the first thing is, how do we draw a straight line if we're given the slope of the straight line and 1 point of the straight line? Okay. So if we're given the slope m, okay, and we're given 1 point, which is x1, y1, this means the coordinates of the slope are given. Okay. If we know these two pieces of information, how do we draw the straight line in the coordinates plane? Okay, so I'm going to give you an example just to show you what this type of question might look like. Okay, so the example is over here. Okay, so for example, we're given that the straight line has a slope of 2. Okay, so this is the first piece of information. Also, we're given that point A, which has the coordinates 2, 3, is also on the straight line. Okay, so these two pieces of information are the only information given to us. And the question might say, okay, use these two pieces of information to draw the straight line in the coordinates plane. How do we do that? Okay, so let me draw the plane here. Okay, so now we have, let's say this is x and this is y, right? What's the first step? When you are given the slope and a point, the first step is always find the point in the coordinates plane. That's always your first step. Okay. Let me move this a little bit so it lines up with the. Okay, so for example, I think this might be better. Yeah. So now I can count like 1, 2, 3, or like 1, 2, 3. It's easier for me to count because I don't have a ruler now. Okay, so like I said, the first step, if you're given a point and the slope of a straight line, the first step is always find the point in the plane. Let me write it here. So steps. Step 1, find 2, 3 in the plane. Okay, so let's find 2, 3. We know that this is 0, 0, right? This is 0, 0. Okay, we've done this too many times. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is 2, 3. This is A, right? So first step is done. Easy like that. Now we need to use the information slope. We know that the slope, so step 2, we know that the slope is equal to 2. Okay, so in order to use the slope information, we need to write the slope in the form rise over run. Okay, so what does that mean? We need to write this 2 as 2 over 1. Okay, 2 over 1. In this form, we know the rise is equal to 2 and the run is equal to 1. Okay, so now we start from this point. Okay, and then we find the rise and run. Rise is equal to 2. So we start from this point, right? Rise is equal to positive 2. So we go up 1, 2. And run is equal to 1, positive 1. So we go right by 1 unit. So this is the second point we need to find, to draw the straight line. So this is the second point we need. Okay, now we join these 2 points. Now we join these 2 points. And this straight line is the one that we need to find. Let me move this a little bit. Okay, so this is the straight line that we're looking for. So basically, when you're given this slope of a straight line and 1 point, remember, the first step is always to find the point 2, 3, the given point in the coordinates plane, and then use the slope information to find the second point, okay? If the slope is an integer, then you need to write it as this. If it's a fraction, for example, if the slope, for example, is 3/4, then you don't need to change it, right? Because you already know the rise is 3 and the run is 4, right? So this is the first thing we learned, how we draw the straight line if we're given the slope of the straight line and 1 point on the straight line. Okay. Second thing, so this is like apparently this is something that a lot of people feel confused about. Okay, so point slope form. Point slope form, what does this tell us? What is this form? Why do we need to learn this? So point slope form basically tells us how we can find the expression of the linear relation or straight line. If we're given the slope and a point, okay, how can we connect the first thing and the second thing we learn? The first thing, we're given the slope and we're given 1 point, and we need to draw the straight line, right? The second thing is we are given the slope, we're given the point. Now we need to find the expression of the straight line. Okay, so how do we do this? We know that, so for point slope form, how do we find point slope form? We use the slope formula. So the point slope form is based on the slope formula. We know that slope formula is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? If x1, y1, and x2, y2 are both given, right? So if we have 2 points on a straight line, we can find the slope, right? However, if we have a straight line like this, if I have a straight line like this, okay, we know 1 point on this straight line, which is x1, y1. So the coordinates of this point are given. Okay, we can say any other point on the straight line. We can use a generalized form to represent any other point on the straight line, which is xy. So xy here, this is a general form of all points on the straight line. Okay, I think this is what most people feel confused about. So we use xy to represent the general, like we use xy as the general form to represent all points on the line. Okay, and now we apply the slope formula. M is equal to, we use this point, right? So y minus y1 over x minus x1. So in this formula, x1, y1 are given. So this is the given point. Okay, this is the given point. Okay, and xy is the general form here. Okay, and then we use some mathematical operation. Okay, we multiply x minus x1 on both sides of the equation. So this becomes m times x minus x1 is equal to y minus y1 over x minus x1 times x minus x1, right? And this cancels out. So this gives us m times x minus x1 is equal to y minus y1. And this is the point slope form. This is the point slope form. So this is how we derive the point slope form from the slope formula and also the logic behind it. Okay. If you can understand it, that's good. If you don't understand it, if you don't understand how we derive it, at least you need to know how to use it. Okay, we will see examples in the homework. The third thing, 2 points form. So 2 points form is very easy. Okay, it's very easy. So we have 2 points. These 2 points are both given, x1, y1, x2, y2. How do we use these two pieces of information to find the expression of the straight line? Step 1, we use the slope formula to find the slope of the straight line, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we'll find a number here, right? And step 2, we literally repeat what we did here. Here. Okay, sorry, here. Okay, now that we know the slope, we find the slope, right? We can pick either of these 2 points to find the expression. Okay, so again, m is equal to y minus y1 over x minus x1. Okay, it's just in step 2. So in step 1, m is unknown, right? Let's say we find a number. Let's say the number is, I don't know, 2, for example, 2. So in the second step here, we know that in step 2, we know the value of m, right? So this is 2. And after this, we can find the point slope form. Okay, we can find the point slope form. So basically, number 3 has one extra step than number 2, which is we need to find the slope first. Whereas for number 2, the slope is given, right? The slope is given. So we can just use the slope form to find the point slope form. For number 3, we are only given 2 points. So we need to find the slope first, and then we apply the point slope form. Okay, I don't know how like confusing this sounds, but don't worry, because it doesn't matter how hard this is, how difficult this is. It's always a good way to deepen our understanding of like the knowledge by practicing a lot. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about the questions.